Oh, sing it, girl. Mm-hmm. We hear you, Chica. The internet hears you. Okay, officially live. Welcome back to Beagle Eye Visions, the modern day Chatauqua, a modern day Chatauqua, apart. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Cuatro, cinco, seis. Part seis. I'm a Chatauqua. Okay, too much coffee. Too much coffee. We got two more chapters of the End Evil. The End of All Evil. I keep saying the End Evil podcast because they've been doing great things. Chris Jansen, Derek Bartoluccelli, they've been doing amazing things. We got the Ignite Hearts and Minds funnel conference coming up very soon. I'm so excited, so freaking excited. I'll plug that at the end of the episode. Ignite Hearts and Minds, Freedom Under Natural Law Conference. We'll talk about that later. I had a lot of coffee, and I have not had lunch yet, so this might be a short one. Welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. So, I guess we'll, not much to talk about. Actually, no, there is a lot to talk about because what happened over, what is going on over in Minneapolis right now with ICE doing increasingly more violent things to increasingly more innocent individuals. That is making me very angry. Go get your own food. You tuned in just to ask for food? Get out of here. Get out of here. We're on a fishing deck. Go fishing. There's fish in the water right there. Go catch you some fish. But anyways, yeah, the lady who got shot, horrible. Hate to see it. Freaking ICE is still going off. Somebody needs to teach ICE a lesson. But anyways, we're going to get started here. We're going to start reading. Hopefully this will be short. It looks like is this the last chapter? No, this is not the last chapter. There's 2 more chapters left. But it looks maybe about 10 pages left. Not that many pages. So maybe we will be able to finish it this time, for sure. And then we'll be able to move on to the next book. The Most Dangerous Superstition. I just pulled out all of my books, rearranged them in the bedroom, so I can look to see. Even though for the next book review, I ordered a new book. My whole idea of doing the book reviews is to review all the books that I own first, but I keep getting more books. I'm a bad pirate. Shoot me. So chapter 8, the pattern of liberty. Hopefully we'll get a party in here. We'll get a couple people. Where's Elliot? Freaking Ocean Jane tuned in and left immediately. That's Beagle Eye Visions Madre right there. But chapter 8, the pattern of liberty. The pattern of tyranny has repeated itself throughout history and still continues to. That's not in the book. I just had to add that. Sorry. It still continues to, obviously, with what just happened. I literally can't talk about it. I will get too pissed off, and I'll ruin the energy and the vibe of the show. So let's just keep reading. It cycles in every instance of evil, large and small. The pattern of liberty, however, is a singular flow that has been progressing slowly since the beginning of time, and still, still continues progressing in the wrong direction. Evil has been on earth as long as man. I thought I just saw a mouse. Evil has been on earth as long as man. The tactics of evil have changed infrequently, and only to do so when forced by the progress of liberty. Every time liberty has progressed, one of the ideas... Oh, I just realized okay, that was weird. I brain farted. Every time liberty has progressed, one of the ideas or concept of evil has died. When cultural control over people is broken, the pattern of liberty takes another step forward, and culture has been forced to adapt to maintain control over people. By using threats of death, torture, mutilation, and imprisonment, every kingdom on earth has prospered. War created the empires of history, and culture preserved them. All who not submit to the rule of law were killed, as we saw last week. And I just realized what I just said earlier. The pattern of liberty, however, is a singular flow that has been progressing slowly. I would say, I mean, yeah, I guess it still is kind of progressing, kind of. Not, is it progressing? It's gotten slower. If it has been progressing slowly in the past, it has gotten slower, if not at a standstill, is what I should have said earlier. I just had to correct. I didn't realize what it. So by using threats of death, torture, mutilation, imprisonment, I think I already read this, every kingdom on earth has prospered. War created the empires of history, and culture preserved them. All who would not submit to the rule of law were killed. That is important, so I'm glad I read that. Such ignorance of the power of culture is the thing of the past. Modern technology, brought by increasing degrees of freedom, is allowing the people of the world to see culture for what it is. The pattern of liberty shows how freedom has progressed throughout history. While cultures around the world teach that evil's control is strengthening, the pattern of liberty shows clearly that evil is weakening. The pattern of liberty predicts the ultimate failure of culture and the ultimate end of evil. And this is in the book review. I said there were some things in this book that I did not agree with. And I think that sentence is kind of an example. The pattern of liberty, not that one. The pattern of liberty show how freedom has progressed while cultures around the world. Or no, wait, sorry. Modern technology brought by increasing degrees of freedom is allowing people of the world to see culture for what it is. I guess that, that's true. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to keep reading. Oh, it's the pattern of liberty shows clearly that evil is weakening. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if evil is weakening. But again, I'm just a cashier that does book reviews on YouTube. The pattern of liberty predicts the ultimate failure of culture and the ultimate end of evil. Progress through history. The pattern of liberty tracks the destruction of ideas and empires throughout history. It also tracks the progress of principles and technology. Gunpowder. One of the defining technologies that dramatically altered the scope of culture was gunpowder. Prior to its availability, only those who could amass strong armies could effectively defend their land and families. This meant that people were heavily at the mercy of governments and kings. Once gunpowder became available, even small bands of families could challenge the mighty castles of empires. Gunpowder reshaped the kingdoms of earth by empowering people to challenge the violent control employed by the lords of war. And then the printing press. The printing press reshaped the nature of culture like nothing the world has ever seen. Before its invention, almost nobody knew how to read. It was simply too expensive to own a book. Wow, can you imagine? Hold on. Imagine living in a time where it was too expensive to own a book. Now, books, you can get books for literally cheaper than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Like I guess that is how what the book said earlier about technology and leading to liberty and gaining freedom. That is one way, but again, I say it all the time on this channel and Crazy Life Stories podcast, that people just simply do not use the technology to their advantage whatsoever. It was simply too expensive to own a book. Once the cost of printing dropped, literacy skyrocketed. Information was standardized on a scale unknown in all of history. It became much more difficult for cultures to center their power on the ignorance of people. Religion was dominated by those who could control the scriptures. With this power, they were able to influence the political freedoms and even the very lifestyles of people. The Bible was the first book printed and soon spread far and wide. Through the Roman Church, though the Roman Church had men killed for translating the Bible into native languages such as English, it eventually became available in every language on earth. Theocratic power in the Christian world fragmented, and people chose to pursue divergent ideas. Man, that's a beautiful thing right there. I love that. Yeah, and then people starting to see and get educated, right? Once people were able to read more books. One thing when you study history is that you have to understand, you have to constantly remind yourself that this technology wasn't available. One thing, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I remember last summer when I was reading a history book, and like the I don't. Never mind. I'm freaking brain farting again. I was trying to think of an example, but though the Roman Church had been killed for translating the Bible. Yeah, people on the One Great Work Network says, like, we have technology now. We have the amount of information that we have available at our fingertips. People would kill each other over, and that's so true back in the day before they had this type of, education. People would kill each other over that type of knowledge. Theocratic power in the Christian world fragmented, and people chose to pursue divergent ideas. The printing press was the foundation of all technology, whereas mathematics and engineering have existed in strength in different areas in history. They never survived. War destroyed the information learned. After the printing press, so many copies of books could be maintained that human knowledge persisted in writing and spreading as fast as the thirst for it demanded. The Great American Experiment. The Great American Experiment was a proof for the world. It dared to call the bluff of culture and test what people would do with liberty, whereas culture had long taught that people were not able or worthy of ruling their own lives. The American Rebellion taught people that they were fully able to live life without a king. They taught by their actions and writings that men were worth more than governments. This experiment in freedom lived past its first test as they defeated the armies of King George. The shock that rang through the world was enough to shatter the bonds of the culture of royalty that had enslaved Earth for thousands of years. Internet. The Internet and modern computing power have destroyed cultural ignorance once and for all. Like the printing press before it, the Internet has made possible the widespread dissemination and near indestructibility of information. The bonds of culture are founded in the control of speech and control of the mind. When people are free to speak what they think, people learn wisdom at an astonishing pace. For cultures to succeed, they require imposed ignorance and cultivation of planned thought. As soon as people question the rule of law, authority is lost. Oh man, it's freaking awesome. Freaking love this book. The cultural shift away from intellectual property is a telltale sign of the end of government rule. In the past, information was regarded as owned by the people who developed it. This meant that anyone who attempted to use that information could be punished by the violence of law. The future holds a shift in thinking that few will be able to accept until they see it happen. Intellectual property is not a principle, since it must be enforced by restricting the liberties of people. Oh my gosh, freaking dog farts. Snoopy, go get out of here. Get out of here, dogs. Go! You guys are gross! You're nasty! No! Get out of here! Holy cow, I can't breathe. I cannot freaking breathe. Breathing is really important when you're reading a book. Let me tell you. Oh my god, no more TREATS words. No more. You guys are freaking gross. Jesus, Bruce Lee Christ. He's freaking barking back at me. He's just stinking up the whole living room. Oh my god. I was almost about to get up and light an incense. Jesus. As soon as the people question the rule of authority. Okay. The cultural shift away from intellectual... I already read that. This meant that anyone who attempted to use that information could be punished by violence. Okay, intellectual property is not a principle, since it must be enforced by restricting the liberties of people. It is an idea and a construct of law. The shift that awaits the world is one of the impossibility of enforcement. Law will struggle mightily in defense of authority and taxability. but will ultimately lose. This is the power of global communication and information retention. Nearly every law will become impossible to enforce. The principles of computing power give the freedom necessary for people to escape tyranny. So I do want to give a shout out to Dennis Gilmore. I did a book review of his book, The Unveiling. You can find his book on Amazon. Dennis Gilmore at whatonearthishappening.wtf, or, I mean, I'm not going to say it. You guys all know what that means. Whatonearthishappening.wtf. On that website, he is taking Mark Passio's work and Mark Passio's presentations, translating them into Word, and then I think, as far as I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but I think he's also taking Mark Passio's presentations into Word, and he's also translating them into other languages. So the work that Dennis Gilmore is doing over at that website is phenomenal. He's also got Right Pharma Publishing. Find Dennis Gilmore, Right Pharma Publishing on his. He's got a Substack. For those of you who use Substack, I love Substack. I need to make a Beagle Eye Substack because that is a great freaking app, especially for those of you, for those who love writing and for those who love reading too. You know, it goes both ways. But freaking love Substack. I really need to maybe put like my book review notes and stuff on there and try to get some more attention to the channel somehow. But yeah, freaking love that. So I was trying to find my spot. Violence replaces culture. When culture breaks down and the authorities they protect are threatened, violence grows. Violence is a necessary component of control. Violent enforcement is necessary to ward off sedition. Violence changes the dynamics by making the cost of freedom death. Every time the pattern of liberty has progressed throughout history, violence has increased. Okay, that's true. That's very true. I agree with that. The future will be no different. As people learn about freedom and see what is possible in their own lives, evil will clamp down. Authorities will employ greater degrees of violence as they lose their grip on power. This is the death of a culture, and this is the meaning of war. War never changes. As the pattern of liberty reaches its final step, the most oppressed cultures on earth will lose adherents the quickest, and those cultures will produce the most violent crackdowns. Like the shooting of Renee Good. Actually, let me double check. Let me look it up. In case there's anybody who hasn't heard. I should read it, you know, just for posterity too. I know it's a recent event, but it goes with everything that we've read so far in this epic book. Miss Good, 37, was a poet and a mother who grew up in Colorado. Her wife said the couple had stopped to support the neighbors when Mrs. Good was shot. In her final moments, Renee Good was in the driver's seat of a maroon Honda Pilot wearing a light blue flannel over a red hoodie and speaking to an immigration agent who was recording her on his phone. Okay. Freaking welcome to Beagle Eye Visions. That's fine, dude. I'm not mad. She said as the agent circled her car, which was blocking part of the road. He was using his cell phone to record Miss Good and her wife, Becca, who prodded him. You want to come at us? You can't see me talking. You want to come at us? Moments later, Miss Good was dead, shot by an immigration and customs enforcement agent, Jonathan Ross, on Wednesday morning. The agent near the front of her car and fired his gun as she drove. She didn't drive towards him. She didn't drive anywhere near towards him. And then turned to the right on a snowy Minneapolis street amid ongoing debate about whether the shooting was justified and the overall tactics employed by the deportation operations. And he fired a gun. She didn't even have a weapon in the car. When she was killed, Miss Good and her wife had been participating in a protest in response to ICE agents who had been spotted in the neighborhood. One of them who had gotten a vehicle stuck in the snow. Yeah, it's because ICE agents are too stupid to know how to drive. Yeah, so that happened. There's videos all over the internet. Just look up her name, Renee Good. It's really sad what happened. Totally messed up. But yeah, it's crazy. So let's get back to the book. So hopefully this video will be under an hour, and then nobody's tuned in anyway. One of the evidence on the violence is terrorist attacks. Those in modern times are no different from terrorist attacks in history. Oppressed peoples do not want to be oppressed. When they learn of freedom, they seek more of it for their own lives. Evil cultures always demonize freedom. Because the United States of America has been historically freer than other places, it is attacked by terrorist regimes in an attempt to teach enslaved peoples that freedom is weakness. They teach that freedom is depravity and insecurity. Such attacks have nothing to do with the people being attacked. They are about maintaining the grip of cultural slavery over oppressed peoples. The violence of dying cultures can destroy millions of lives, but it never lasts long. Earth's era of war is over. The rapid pace of nation creation and destruction is evidence of the accelerating pace of the pattern of liberty. New cultural twists invented by evil men are discovered and crushed. Technology and population. One of the principles of history is that freedom is a function of population. Population growth endangers tyranny. All the major tyrants of history have sought to limit growth. Births expand the human experience and teach people about opportunity, hope, and faith. This freedom is not conducive to slavery. The more people that live in a culture, the more dissent you will find. It is nearly impossible to control large numbers of people with primitive cultures. One of the evidences of the completion of the pattern of liberty is the astounding population of Earth. Technology endangers evil on every hand. Its use, implementation, and imagination are diametrically opposite evil. Technology is born of freedom. Freedom brings wisdom to people who implement learned principles and practical solutions. This search for wisdom teaches people the value that they have within themselves. It teaches them to stretch the limits of their intelligence and faith. This is more than concerning to the control of authority. It is the death of evil. The use of technology enables the evasion of authority. One powerful example of this is the evasion of taxation. Governments are institutionalized extortion. When technology allows people to remove the control of money from government, anonymous peer-to-peer networking technology allows for exactly this. Economic exchanges are freed from the bounds of legal tender and regulation. The future of technology brings the impossibility of tracking money and enforcing taxation. This transition will be marked by violence as governments try to salvage their monstrous rates of extortion. Back to another shout out to Dennis Gilmore. He's always talking about crypto on Crazy Life Stories, and crypto is a way that we can use money and currency and pass it peer to peer anonymously without it being tracked by anybody. I need to get some crypto myself. I keep saying that, but I'm really slacking on it. The comforts and prosperity of technology demonstrate to the world what the fruits of freedom are. It is entirely impossible to hide from culturally enslaved peoples the glory that is human life. Principles and products leak through every culture on earth. The kings of old have fallen. Communism is weakened, theocracy is dying, democracies are bankrupt, violence will mark the transitions, but freedom will prevail. The American dream. The American dream was for a land where people would be free from the interference of government. The dream was one of freedom to pursue joy and happiness. Today, culture teaches that the American dream is a specific and tightly defined perspective on the perfect life, and that the reason the United States of America is great because it has the ability to create that life for you. Culture perverts everything good. The American dream is not an American dream. The great American experiment brought massive liberty to the people of America, more than had been seen at any other time or place on earth. The experiment and the dream are not for Americans. The United States of America is not to be respected as a nation. It is not a favored group. There is no magic, no cultural supremacy in the red, white, and blue. The great American experiment is to be respected only because it taught people that they are worth more than the law. The government of the United States of America in modern times closely resembles both a democracy and a welfare state. It is bankrupt and heavily enforced by legions of law. Culture would have you believe that this is its legacy. It is not. The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the very action of rebellion against a king taught the people of the world that the government had no natural right over them. These things taught the whole earth that they owed government and authority nothing. It told people that authority should never tell people should never tell them what they could say, how they could worship, what they could print, and where they could gather. It told people that law enforcement is a dangerous animal, and they ought to be able and willing to defend themselves against it. It taught people that government and authority can be limited. It taught people that they were worth more than law. This mighty step taken in the pattern of liberty has nothing to do with democracy or government. The power of beauty in this step was the anti-culture created by men of rebellion. They attacked every leg of authority by teaching people about a measure of their own worth. The experiment has proven successful. Freedom for people does not create anarchy. America is not perfect, and it will not be the end of freedom. Mankind's thirst for liberty will not endure the tyrannies of earth for long. They will be taught that they are worthy of ruling their own lives. The pattern of tyranny will be broken. Freaking hopefully, the American dream is not an American dream. It is a human dream. It is a giant stair climbed on the backs of heroes towards the freedom of men. It will not be the last. Competition for freedom. As people are able to look beyond the tyranny of their own lives to divergent cultures on earth, they will see a competition for freedom. The lure of freedom will be evidenced by the technology, prosperity, and peace of freer peoples. They will ask why it is noble for them to obey certain laws, but not the rest of the world. They will see that those things which are demanded of them are not natural, that they are tyranny. The pattern of liberty progresses every time the lies of culture are discovered and understood. Though cultures are designed to maintain tight control of the minds of people so that they cannot see the tyranny over them, witnessing freedom can break the bonds nearly instantly. When the violence of dying cultures runs out and freedom peeks out of every dark place on earth, the people of the world will begin a competition for freedom. When there is freedom to move and shop for jurisdictions, you will find that people move to freer societies, not stricter ones. Moreover, elements of evil will gravitate to more restricted societies because they are easier to exert control over. This is the final chapter for evil. Technology, communications, and wisdom free people to evade authority, and they will do so with ever-increasing effectiveness. This is the completion of the pattern of liberty. This is where evil ends. That's very true. Yes, we have to use technology to our advantage, even though during the, dare I say it, on this very restrictive platform, the scamdemic, we tried to use technology to the best of our advantage, and what did we see during every time during Freedom Under Natural Law or the Seed conference that we saw, kept getting restricted on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X, Spotify. Every single one of these platforms were restricting these podcasts, these freedom speakers from talking about the truth, which is absolutely ridiculous that people still to this day support these platforms by paying YouTube YouTube Premium so they don't have to deal with commercials, by paying Spotify so they don't have to deal with commercials, by paying Twitter and X, whatever the hell Twitter and X sells to people. I don't use that platform, especially because of how restricting it is. And Facebook the same way. Facebook started paying people money by advertising their pages. Like I know a few artists who had enough people, who had enough followers to where they could get their Facebook monetized, and they get money from Facebook. This is a restricting platform. I guess you could use the money for good. I guess but I doubt they are. They're probably using the money for more Starbucks, right? So we have to use technology to our advantage. Even still streaming. Right, that's probably why the algorithms don't promote this channel, right? So share. Anybody who's talking about freedom, right? End Evil Podcast. Share it, promote it. Get some free advertising. Share it. Get that freedom out there. Uh-oh. Snoopy, come here. Okay, freaking Picklehead. I had an interview. She's leaving the house, but yeah, use the violence to the technology. Share it. If any podcast, Cubby Hole Podcast, Wake the Dead Podcast. This is probably why nobody's tuned in right now, because all these podcasts that I'm promoting. Since we have one chapter, I'm gonna drink a grog at the go to the old tavern, drink a grog, and kind of celebrate. But yes, please use the technology to your advantage. Please, Sea of Thieves even restricted John Anti-Cheat. John Anti-Cheat is going out there and reporting cheaters who are cheating in this game and ruining the game for each other. And Rare kicked John Anti-Cheat. It might have been an accident. I don't know if Rare was controlling it, but it happened, right? It's wild. Not trying to throw Rare under the bus or anything, but it does happen. Anyways, think about the platforms that you are using. Think about the platforms that you are giving money to and promoting with your funding. Every dollar spent is another vote cast. Every dollar spent is another vote cast. They're the words of Mr. House, or whoever the hell he is, because Bethesda has completely destroyed the Fallout franchise. So again, vote with your dollar. And stop supporting these absolutely stupid corporations. And I say corporations because these corporations are dead entities, not represented by any single individual. So if one of these corporations does an immoral action, there's not one single individual you can go and uppercut them in the throat. These companies need to be held accountable, especially for what happened for the Fallout when the bombs dropped day. I don't even remember because they did nothing for that anniversary. Anyways, back to the material. Let's get back to the material. The sun is in my eyeballs, so I won't be able to read your comments. Hopefully, if you guys are in here and tuned in, and guys are putting in comments, hopefully I will be able to see them. But nobody's tuned in anyway because the algorithms hate me. The algorithms hate me, and I hate the algorithms. So it's okay. It's a mutual relationship. Chapter 9, End of All Evil. The final chapter, everybody. Voice is a principle of intelligence. Let me say it again, because I'm using my voice. Voice is a principle of intelligence. I need some more Dovey. I got the tropical blue solo leveling flavor. It's so freaking delicious. Perfect flavor for Sea of Thieves. All right. Voice is the highest form of communication between beings of the highest intelligence. The passion and feeling that people are able to put behind their words can change lives and change worlds. The few who achieve a glimpse of power of voice bring either insane destruction or awesome freedom. That's very true. Every great and terrible culture brought into the world was brought by the principle of voice. Every rebellion and revolution that destroyed cultures and empires was brought by the power of voice. Men who understood the principle of voice have irrevocably, how do I say that? Let's use let's use technology to our advantage. Here's an example. Here's an example of how to use technology to your advantage. How do you pronounce irrevocably? How do you pronounce irrevocably?
Irrevocably.
Irrevocably. I said it way wrong. Irrevocably. Lost my spot. Okay, where to go? Men who understood the principle of voice have irrevocably altered our world. Okay, there we go. Now here we go, nice and proper there. We got the proper pronunciation. Okay, so the principle of voice is found in every element of human communication. Writing and books are lesser forms of human voice. Every transfer of words contains the power to change lives. When accompanied by the passion of life, voice alone has the power to free worlds. The principle of voice explains why freedom is a function of population. As population increases, it is more difficult for culture to maintain control over the speech of people. The more people communicate with one another, the quicker they learn their own value. That is powerful. Population increase brings increased freedom to the world because of the power of voice. When people are unfettered by the chains of culture, and when they do not believe the lie that they are powerless, they can change everything. To change the world, you must have the faith that you have such ability in yourself. You must open your mouth and speak. The principle of voice is the passion to convince, the passion to teach, and the passion to create faith. It will strengthen you, and should you choose to use it, you will change lives. Future. The dreams that burn in the hearts of billions have been growing stronger through the millennia. Ages of destruction wrought by tyranny will not go unanswered. The children of this world are owed a liberty from slavery that can only be satisfied by the utter eradication of evil from the earth. Ooh, excuse me. Every dream of feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and helping the poor is answered in this cause. Human beings are able to answer every need and desire of our world by using the principles we learn all around us. When the obstacles of evil are removed from the lives of people, technology and prosperity advance on an exponential scale. With only limited degrees of freedom in a small percentage of the world, human beings have cured scores of disease and discovered methods of feeding billions. All the comforts of modern life were made possible by people with the faith to succeed. Ask yourself what miracles may be accomplished when this small percentage becomes perfect freedom and is achieved for every one of the billions of people on earth. This is the infinite value of human beings. You are the key. The progress of liberty on our world is advanced by challenging culture and authority. Technology and the proof of the great American experiment are in our hands. To challenge evil, all that remains is to open your mouth and tell the people of the world that the dream of freedom is real. It is you who will teach people of earth their value. It is you who will bring to pass the greatest revolution in the history of mankind. To challenge the authority of evil, you need to dismantle its tools of violence and culture. Culture is dismantled as simply as disobedience to the control of speech. When you speak your mind and refuse to take offense when others do the same, cultures cannot survive. There is nothing to fear in freedom. Violence is the tool of first and last resort for evil. Those few who will use it to enslave cannot be left alive. A perfect revolution. The price of freedom is blood. This is an immutable truth. Actually, and for the layman's, I'm going to search what immutable means. What does immutable mean? Because that is an immutable truth. I agree with that. Immutable, unchanging over time, or unable to be changed. This is an immutable truth. The reason is that evil does not care if you live or die. Evil will stop at nothing to achieve mastery over you. A perfect revolution is a revolution where all of the blood paid for freedom is paid by tyrants, and where none is paid by the innocent. There are only three types of action a person can take: that which exercises freedom, that which defends it, and that which destroys it. Culture teaches the nobility of destroying freedom by concepts such as the rule of law. At the same time, it teaches the immorality of defending freedom in concepts such as police authority. Culture cannot be allowed to continue. As long as men of violence will walk the earth, they will devise ways to create cultures under threat of death. The defense of freedom is always righteous, and no tyrant can be spared. There is no proper role for tyranny in the lives of people. As soon as you yield to the forces of compulsion in the name of life, you have lost your life, for it belongs to those who control you. Life is liberty. Without liberty, your life belongs to another. Liberty is to be defended at all costs and at all times. Govern yourself, for this is the nature of an individual. You and you alone control your actions and your mind. This is right, proper, and good. You have the responsibility to defend your liberty at all times. If you do not, it will be destroyed. To yield defense of your liberty to another is an absolute invitation to tyranny. Oh, gotta get a good spot. Can't get a good spot because the controller's broken. I ordered a new controller. It was very expensive, and it sucked. Because it is not here yet. That's why it sucks. Hopefully it will not suck when it gets here. I hate when I lose my spot. Dang it. Perfect liberty is life. Wait a minute. Okay. If you do not, it will be destroyed. To yield defense to your liberty to another is an absolute invitation to tyranny. Personal sovereignty is the end of all evil. When every person on earth will defend themselves and those they love, when evil cannot gain even a foothold because all people are watching for it and recognize that it seeks to destroy their value, this is the exact opposite of perfect evil, in which every person is a slave and a master of slaves. Perfect liberty is life, and in it there are no slaves and no masters of slaves. Perfect liberty is life. Earth. The cultures of earth teach you to accept, to yield, and to obey. The end of evil is found in refusing this slavery of the mind. For the end of evil to be achieved, all people must be taught that they owe obedience to no one. They must be taught that the desires and dreams of their hearts are proper and good. They must be taught that every ounce of joy they seek can be had for themselves and those they love. This is the anti-culture, to free the minds of people. Jesus, what was that? That's freaking crazy. Even the island is getting fired up at the words that I'm saying. Cultures are established first by the control of speech. Condemnation of speech is rampant in the strongest cultures. The end of evil will bring the defense of speech in every home and in every communication. Culture teaches that speech brings offense. Instead, you must see that speech brings a view into the mind of a human being. Ignore the interpretations of culture and see the intent of feeling and feeling of them who speak to you and who speak back. The control of speech is crushed by the power of voice. In the end of evil, people cannot tolerate compulsion and force. The mistakes of history are found where people have allowed the establishment of culture, and in every case, it was known that this establishment would destroy liberty. In the end of evil, tyranny will not be tolerated. Let me get a better spot. Freaking dogs out here eating butt. Let me get a better view because my broken controller just seems to add a natural ambiance there. I got Stanley Kubrick working my controller here, giving us nice angles. The control of speech is crushed by the power of voice. I need some more W here. It's definitely not hydrating me. But it's okay, because it's delicious. In the end of evil, people... Oh, okay, no, I already read that. In every case, it is known that this establishment would destroy liberty. In the end of evil, tyranny will not be tolerated. This is like my favorite chapter. This chapter is so powerful. So many good, absolute nuggets of truth, nuggets of gold. Gets me fired up every time. So freaking good. This is why I had to read this. I had to freaking read this book and try. I just had to start it, right? I've been putting off the modern day Chatauqua for too long. Whether people want to join me or not, I don't care. I just had to do it. I had to start, especially once I did the book review for this book. Especially because of what I'm about to read. Let's get back to the book. You owe allegiance to no nation and to no law, except natural law, I would add. You are a being of infinite worth and fully capable of escaping the bondage of evil. When you feel compelled not to speak, speak. When you are oppressed by law, circumvent it. When violence threatens you, crush it. Remember the lessons of technology. Technology is the fruit of freedom. Technology enables humanity at the expense of authority. Just one example of this is the extraction of economics from the control of nations. Regulation chokes economic activity by making it prohibitively expensive, cumbersome, and complex for newcomers to sell products and services. The answer is technology. Internet activities such as classified service listings will be merged with product auctions on an open and universal platform. We already understand how technology can bring the cost of selling down and make selling easier for everyone to accomplish. The lessons of evading extortion and control are likewise already learned. Global peer-to-peer networking ensures that no authority can switch off a server to dismantle economic activity. This dispersion of economic targets will make it impossible for governments to enforce taxation and control, making peer-to-peer nodes anonymous using powerful encryption technology. Will make it extremely difficult for authority to bring excessive violence upon individuals to force examples of obedience. Steganography within established protocols such as HTTP will make disabling specific communications impossible without disabling all communication. Merging public auctions and marketplace with anonymous steganographic peer-to-peer networking will forever remove the control of economics from the hands of extortionist authorities. With technologies such as these, people can buy and sell anything without the interference of governments and mafias. Furthermore, governments will not be able to enforce taxation record-keeping, since instead of a smaller number of corporations preferred by government, every one of the billions of people on Earth will engage their economics directly. Population and technology crush evil. What other devices can be imagined to free people from the tyranny of communism, terrorism, socialism, democracy, violence, and culture? With a human mind, there is no limit to imagination and invention. When technology and innovation beat down authoritative control, the liberty released will spawn astronomical advances. 1 ounce of freedom may bring 1 ounce of technology. 1 ounce of freedom may bring 1 ounce of technology. Oh, excuse me, I lost my spot. 2 ounces may bring 10. 1 free person may bring 1 idea of innovation. 2 free people may bring 100. Total freedom for all people brings nothing less than infinite opportunity. The scale of the speed of human advancement can be seen in thousands of years of history with modest gains in freedom and modest gains in technology. In the most recent few hundred years, technology has exploded. With each degree of freedom achieved, human knowledge builds exponentially. Sorry, I'm trying to find this. Trying to find a plug since we're nearing the end of the book here. It's kind of hard to find though. I don't think I'll be able to find it. With each degree of freedom achieved, human knowledge builds exponentially. And so, if you like any of this information, if this gets you fired up like it does me, make sure you go to What on Earth is happening. Let me see here. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com. It is a phenomenal website. This is the website that led me to do all of this research. Led me to start researching freedom and start taking this stuff seriously. Yeah, I don't think I will be able to find what I'm looking for. No beagles. Okay, so I'll get back to the material. You have infinite value. With freedom, all things are possible. Technology, health, wealth, and knowledge are all facets of power. Each of these improve the lives of human beings. The fruits of liberty are everything good and bring peace, prosperity, and joy. You live after the era of wars, and the only remaining step in the pattern of liberty is to answer the question held in the minds of people around the world. The lies of millennia have not stopped the unquenchable thirst for freedom that grows within the hearts of every person on earth. They are poised and ready to take the freedom that is rightfully theirs. They need only hear that freedom is possible, that freedom is real. You are the key to teach the people of earth the value that they have within themselves. You need only speak and tell them that every good thing is theirs to have. You need only tell them that the glory of liberty is real and that it belongs to them. The war is already won. Evil has already been crippled. Every human being on earth is ready to rise and let the chains that held them crumble to dust. The world will be free. If you can see your own value, then stand tall. Ye are called into liberty. And now, since I think that's a pretty positive place to end, I'm not going to say anything else. Since we've reached the end of this book, I kind of want to keep this to less than an hour because people's attention spans are completely devastated, which is insane. Which is probably why nobody is here on part 6 of the modern day Chatauqua. But so again, leave it on a positive note there. And the last page of this book simply says one sentence, a few words, very powerful sentence, and I'll leave you guys off with this last nugget of wisdom. This book teaches This book teaches just one lesson. You have infinite worth. So Beagle Eye Visions signing off. Stay tuned and stay gold, everybody.